All right, folks, we are 2 days after the start of Operation Barbarossa, the anniversary of Operation Barbarossa, not, of course, actual Barbarossa, unless we did a time warp thing, and then it would be hard to imagine that because we have a poster in back that says 1778 to 1943, and the thing right behind Miss Katie's head and off to her, over her right shoulder, is teletype prints from the fall of South Vietnam in 1975. But that's neither here nor there on this, is it, folks? So, what are we looking at today here, Miss Katie?
Battle for Kursk, Deluxe Edition.
And who produces this game?
RBM.
RBM. So far, you're doing pretty good. You're 2 for 2, aren't you? What did your husband tell you that the unofficial nickname for the Tiger tank was?
Something about a moving truck or a moving van.
And Sepp Dietrich, an SS commander, SS general, called it an underpowered furniture moving van.
I got part of it.
Not very well powered. Now, we just played this game. In fact, this is our third copy of the game. We sold a copy because we were so miffed and thought it didn't do what it was supposed to. Well, obviously we were wrong. Then we went ahead, played it, and discovered how good it actually was. And I think on BoardGameGeek, and before I get ready to talk, I'm going to go confirm the numbers. But they're nowhere as high as they should be. But Roger B. McGowan, the head of course, RBM Studios, who does a lot of the artwork for GMT Games, liked my review enough, and I was talking to him about the beautiful mounted map in this, because Miss Katie knows that mounted maps just, well, they send my heart a twitter. They cause my heart to skip a beat or three. So with that, he said, well, you know, Smitty, would you like to review the upgraded, expanded version? Because I think it says on there, right up at her upper left paw, it says Deluxe Edition. So that means they changed it around and did some other things with it. So we'll be taking a look at that here directly. And as always, the one who's just saying, are we done yet so I can get ready to go for lunch? She now says bye-bye or some other sweet thing, and everybody likes her, and then I get to prattle. So, Miss?
Nothing.
And do we like the Battle of Kursk? How many books do we have on the Battle of Kursk?
A few.
A few. See, even Miss Katie knows that one. So, thanks, folks. Hi, folks. Back again. Battle for Kursk. We have gone ahead and taped together the back of the map, and we're holding it because it wants to buckle. Not that there's anything wrong with the map, just because it's in sections. And it is a what kind of map, sweetheart?
Mounted map.
A mounted map board. And I think this is a lovely map. I really think this is a good map. And part of it is because I have developed an affinity for operations in the Ukraine in the summer of 1943. Much to my surprise. It was a number of years ago where I switched from enjoying running rampant and wild as the German player invading the Soviet Union in 1941 to liking to play the Soviet player. But Battle of Kursk, you see the victory cities, and you might be able to hear Petunia out there, or One-Eyed Kitty. She's howling because she wants to be in here with Mom and Dad. Well set up, terrain at the bottom, CRT on each side, your sequence of play for each player on each side, your tracks, and a good track at the top. And what's really weird about this track, and I use the word weird lightly, is it has turns 1 through 8, standard. But then it has an Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta turn where you have an optional what-ifs that you can play as both the German and Soviet player. for that period leading up to Kursk. I wasn't taken with that at all. Now I am, because it gives you a different, because you got the period where maybe the mud doesn't really happen. Unlikely. But if it does, do the Germans jump early? Do the Soviets maybe jump early, or do the Soviets most likely just stay put? But I like this map. It's a good map. And of course I have to thank Roger B for sending me this, because when I saw that there was the deluxe version with a mounted map board, wow, needless to say, we were very excited. But what makes this different? And Tootsie, you might want to tilt the camera a little more towards me here.
Sorry.
What makes this different in the Deluxe edition is what Trevor Bender, the designer, and I've talked to him some, nice young man, it sounds like Miss Katie talking about anybody younger than us, is the optional rules and counterfactuals. And the alternative setup for Kursk, it's not a bust on Trevor, but Kursk canceled. Ooh, now that gets to be interesting. That's almost a Von Manstein and Modell counterfactual. What do you want to do with that? What do you want to do with that? Well, I like that one. The other one, Sicily is delayed because, for whatever reasons. Again, makes a different change to things. And offensive preparations, well, he says players are limited to saving a maximum of 3 offensives. So you can do that around differently with this. That, someone's saying, well, is that really worth getting it the extra for? I think it's very much worth getting it for, because I was surprised at how well he thought a number of things out. Counters, they are your typical C3I GMT type counters. They're fetching. They're particularly fetching because right here we have a Lee Grant tank. I like Lee Grant tanks. I'm going to walk out of the picture for a moment. You're never supposed to do that, but you know, what the heck? Miss Katie is just kind of giggling at me. A Lee Grant tank with a gun too that got bent doing some moves. So, like I said, we have an affinity for these. Now, this is mainly an unboxing, but we've written a review of this game. We were very taken with it. We walked over before we did this and looked at the numbers, and they're 7.09, and I have no idea why they are 7.09 for this incredibly fine little game. Baffles me. Is it because, I don't know. Now, maybe it's because, we're going through some of the other things. I'll get back to some of the thinking. Yay, insert. Yay! And unlike the old SPI ones, nothing falls off the back. And then there are optional wad markers. Yeah, we're not using those. We didn't use them for our previous copy. We're not using them for this. But included in the Deluxe version also is, there's a paper map. Ta-da! There's your paper map. If you want to use that. You could actually use 2 maps at once if you had 2 games. You could go ahead and you could double blind those. And then, of course, there's the rule books. The only thing I can find somebody to fuss about is maybe sometimes, is I've discussed with Trevor Bender, some of the rules, mainly the rules on, I think it was supply, are just a little bit, there's some spots that are maybe a little bit vague or could use a little more clarification. And I think the rule booklet could have been laid out a little better. Having said that, I think this is a stellar little game, and even better, it's of the Ukraine 1943. Unlike some folks who like to talk about, they like games with lots of dice. This game is lots of dice, therefore I like this game. I like this game because it's a good game. Now, let me talk about I'm a dog. My cone of shame. My cone of shame with this game is I was so miffed when I first got it because I thought it was going to be about Kursk and saw it wasn't about that and said false advertising. Bah, grumble, grumble, grumble. I don't like this game. Gonna sell it. Gonna get rid of it. In the back of my head, there developed kind of this small spark that grew to almost a forest fire in terms of proportions of saying, Smitty, I think you really screwed the pooch by selling this game. I'm saying, but it's only a 7.09 or something on BGG, and I'm going, yeah, but there's just, and I kept looking at it, and even though the people's comments didn't sell me on it, there was what you call right here, the gut instinct that said, I think I'm wrong. And I was wrong. Pure and simple wrong. It's a very good game. I would recommend it to anybody. But of course, what do we talk about with any game? And what made it even a better game was my library. We'll first talk about T-34, Stalin's Greatest Tank. Reviewed it for Armor Magazine. Lots and lots of data and lots of pictures and lots of schematics. I love schematics. I love tank schematics. I love tank drawings because as most of you know, I spent much of my life in tanks. Miss Katie and I saw a number of these kind of monuments on our trip to the Ukraine in 2018 of monuments to the Great Patriotic War. Good little book. You'll see it then when I review this. The one book, if you're only going to get one book on this period of the war, The Wehrmacht Retreats by Robert Cetina. The book. Simply the book to get on it. All three books are good. The third volume of this is not quite as good as the others, but that's because there are other books I perhaps like more. But this here deals neatly with the issues of 1943 in the Ukraine, and he talks about and takes to task the German commanders who always talked about, well, if Hitler would have only allowed us to maneuver, and he talks about when Model moves back to Morel and still incurs 100,000 casualties. Yes, it was a phased withdrawal. Yes, it was very successful, but still 100,000 casualties. So that belies the fact that maneuver was going to save the German army. Then there, of course, is the go-to book. Oxford published the official German history of World War II. This is, of course, on Kursk and the aftermath. The book. Get it in paperback because it is. What do we say this is, Miss Katie? Say pricey for the good people.
Pricey.
Pricey. Say it again.
Pricey.
Yeah, you hear that southern twang there, folks? I call it pricey. She goes,
Pricey.
it's a little more airy. But go ahead. And we found these a number of years ago that were going to be thrown out when we worked in the Joint History Office. Art of War Colloquium by the U.S. Army. And of course this one deals with a breakthrough of a Panzer Corps at Kursk. Well, there's really no per se breakthrough. And 6th Army at the Mayash River line in 1943. Has become one of my favorite battles because von Manstein gets suckered down there and the Soviets break through in the north, which is part of the battle for Kursk. The tigers are burning, and as Miss Katie said, yes, a big furniture van, but weasels all get out in its area. So as always, we thank you folks. We thank RBM Studio for trusting us for doing this. We got it done pretty dang quickly considering. Our pool is almost green and now our sand tank doesn't want to work. So we continue to have pool fun, but hey, we got this video done. Thanks, folks. And she's going to get ready to shut it off right now. Aren't you, miss?
Yes.
Thank you, sweetheart. Bye, folks.